No other piece of writing is anywhere near there. We are less than a generation away from witnessing the world's first universally translated text. No other book in history comes close. Most of the other translations, look, if you're an author and you translate it into 2 or 3 languages, boy, you'll feel good about it. And if it is translated into 10 or 15 languages, you've made the headlines. This book, of all the books on earth, is heading towards that point which no other book even dares to try to compete. No other book is anywhere close by. But we are less than a generation away. So, it's amazingly written, has a tremendous harmony, influence, preservation, survival, circulation, and translation. I cannot see any other writing on earth that can equal this set. So the conclusions, this man in the book, this is my stand, that's my search that I made. And like I said yesterday, I'm not telling you to make a stand on the points that I have written down. But it is reasonable to make a stand when you are faced with the evidence that we are faced with, all the facts that we went through these last 3 days and today as well. Let's take a break. We're going to change gears. All this while and all these hours that we have been together, we have tried to gather information, evidence, in kind of a cold, calculating way, trying to use reason and logic and just putting the facts together. These things appeal to the intellect that wants to place argument and argument side by side. I think it is time then, after you have done that, to ask whether the intellect can also be summoned to a point where it will bow to emotions as well. Because if there is a God, like we said there might be in the first session, and if He created you and He made us up, then when I look into myself, I see not only an intellect that wants to reason out, but I also see a lot of feelings, emotions. And if you did hear the interview this morning on the radio, there was the question, how shall we shift from knowledge to experience? How shall we shift from head to heart? And I think I'm going to just shift gears now. We have laid a certain foundation, at least we've attempted to do that. So if you'll give me permission, I am going to speak as if the book is valid and this man has told the truth. And so from that perspective, I'm going to make the book and the man the reference point and speak as if that's the truth. Because all this while we were trying to establish that, and now we are shifting out to see if that is the truth. Is there something in that place that can also grip the imagination and my heart, not just my head? The reason I came to that was a question that naturally came up in my mind on the 9th point in the previous scrutiny. And the 9th point was what happened at his death. He died the most horrible death. The question that came up to my mind was, we had earlier seen that he was the most innocent. So why did the most innocent die the most horrible death? He claimed to come from a level that was supernatural. Then my question was, did supernatural justice go bad? Did ultimate justice just break down? Why should the most innocent died the most horrible death? If you attempt to answer that, I believe it will take you to the core of the teachings of this man. And in that core teachings, I have found that nobody is left out. Everybody is on stage. There are no spectators. The story has all of us as the original cast in that. Everyone from the beginning of this world's history, right up to the end, wherever it is involved. So here is a part of that story. First, when you look at that, we must establish what we mean by certain words. And so here are some definitions. What is righteousness? The big word. People use it, and it really means doing things correctly. And the first thing that comes to our mind for doing things correctly is a set of rules. If the set of rules is here, then if you do it according to the rules, then it's correct. But the message here is it goes much deeper than rules. It's a very simple and yet very deep, simple principle. Righteousness is saying, you first, not me. That's it. Similarly, unrighteousness or badness is not necessarily doing some things nasty or bad. It is just saying me first, not you. And it is simple. But you will see when we are finished, it runs the deepest. Justice, punishment that is equal to the crime by a law. And when we look at those words, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, sometimes we think that it is so barbaric and primitive. But do you know that is the highest form of justice? If I stole $10 from you, how much should I give back? Exactly 10. That is justice. If I give anything less than 10, it's not justice. If I broke somebody's window and it cost $20 to fix, then somebody has to pay $20. So that is justice. Mercy, we often think of mercy as, okay, you owe me 10 for that, but 5 will do. But if you do that, you have knocked off justice. And if you do that, somebody else has paid the other 5, sometime or the other. So if you really want to show mercy and retain justice, then we have to recognize that mercy will never be able to touch the law or the punishment. But it can come in at a certain specific point. If justice is satisfied once the axe falls, mercy allows it to fall elsewhere. Justice as a cannon will fire, mercy can direct the cannon's fire. It cannot stop the cannon from firing. If it stops the cannon from firing, it is destroying justice. And therefore mercy, if it must come in, must retain justice. Otherwise, it will be arbitrary, and when there is arbitrariness, there is neither justice nor mercy. So those are the concepts I'd like for us to remember. The other is the word heaven, or nirvana, or the ultimate, paradise. There are many descriptions of heaven and paradise, and all those descriptions are, beautiful and gold and abundance of food and pleasures. Do you know why they are written in that way? Because they should appeal to us. And our minds have been warped. We have run away from the true value of existence. And the true value of existence is not in things. The true value of existence is in a heart-to-heart relationships that you can form. Nothing can equal that. not the diamonds in the world can ever take the place of a lover. No. Because a relationship is the most valuable. We have forgotten that. And that is why it is written that heaven is a place where there's gold and all kinds of things. Heaven is not gold. Heaven is where you have a heart-to-heart relationship with the one who lives there, that is God. That is heaven. Of course there's gold and abundance and all that. But that is not what makes it heaven. What makes it heaven is when there's a heart-to-heart relationship. And when there's a heart-to-heart relationship between two people here on earth, then it's heaven on earth. And when there's a heart-to-heart relationship between a person here and God, then it's heaven. And when there's a heart-to-heart relationship in the heavenly realm itself among those up there in that realm, then it is even better than heaven, our concept of heaven. Similarly, hell is not necessarily where the fire burns and then you get scalded skin and feel the heat. Hell is not heat. Otherwise, many of us have been going through hell. Hell is when there is a broken relationship. And when the relationship between man and God is finally broken, that will be hell. When it's between a human and a human who have fought viciously and turned away, it's hell on earth. Between human and God, broken, that's hell. When it's up there between those who live in the spheres of eternity, when there, if anything breaks, it is worse than hell.